Hello, Fee. It is lovely to talk to you today for She Can. Tell us a little bit who you are and what you do.
Gosh, I always sort of shrink when someone asks me that because I sort of think, oh, help, I don't do anything. But actually, I do quite a lot. Um, I'm married and I've got 4 children, 2 grandchildren. And then the rest of my time, I'm a research fellow at the University of Roehampton. And basically, all that means is that it gives me an address, a base from which I can do a whole load of research projects in my particular field. And my field is looking really to see the effects that music can have on the well-being of people who are older and many of whom who've got dementia. So that's my kind of niche field. Do you want me to say sort of more about that? Or
Yeah, I'd love to know about your journey, Fee, and how you got there, because it's a really interesting field. I think it's a very important field. There is an increasing amount of old people ending up with dementia, and so it's a very important field. I know you've been very successful in this field, so I'd love to know the journey of how you got there.
well, it was a rather sort of it wasn't straightforward, let's put it that way, and it happened incredibly late. So it was about 20 years ago. I started. Well, I just realised I was really interested in older people, and I have no idea why. I never met my grandparents. They died before I was born. I really didn't spend any time with older people growing up, or sort of when I was married and with my children growing up either. I had one mother-in-law who lived in South Africa, and she was actually a very young mother-in-law, so she didn't really count either. But anyway, I got this real sort of feeling for older people. I felt that they were sidelined in society. I felt that we were very ageist in our attitudes. So often we don't realize we're being ageist, but we are. And I suppose I found myself thinking, golly, I wonder whether I could do anything about that. And it was a very sort of long, circuitous route to actually trying to get into this world. It combined at a time, I suppose if I go back to the beginning, I was a full-time mother and I really embraced that world. I got really stuck into it. I suppose I shed my previous world, embraced the new world of children. And I suppose I think I got rather submerged into it, to be honest. I had a very busy husband who wasn't around very much. So I suppose I took on a lot of the responsibilities of running the home. And as they grew up and got a bit bigger, and I sort of felt I want to spread my wings. And then I found this really difficult to do. I looked at friends who were working and I thought they were all far more talented and creative and clever and just able to be in the world of work. And I couldn't see how I was ever going to leap from my very domestic existence to something other. So anyway, I found myself, as I was saying, getting interested in this whole world of older people. And I just put a toe in the water and I started. I originally trained at the Royal College of Music, and I started playing some concerts in care homes. It was a very easy thing to do, and I went along and I played to them, and I was just amazed at how much people enjoyed it and what their response was. It wasn't because I was particularly good. It was just that I think music is an amazing resource for older people. You know, they don't have to do anything. They can sit there. They can be physically frail, they can be cognitively frail, but music reaches them. So I was really intrigued by that. And off the back of that, I then started a series of concerts for older people, which were in our local church. And I suppose what I wanted to do was to give them the very, very best I could. So because I'm a musician, I had quite a few contacts in the music world, and I asked really amazing musicians to come and play for us. I got a fantastic team of volunteers, and we made endless amounts of sandwiches and homemade cakes and what have you. It all sounds very simple and is, but they were just, people loved them. And we found that more and more people came. We had up to about 500 people coming each time. And that was really the capacity of the church. And I just found this absolutely riveting. I sort of thought, what is it? I mean, obviously I knew that music was special, but why is it so special? And what else can music do to help older people? So I started doing a master's also at Roehampton University in music psychology. And for my dissertation, I did a project in a care home, and I looked at how it affected their well-being, doing a little series of concerts in the care home. I did a comparison of 3 different sites, and I found it absolutely riveting. And I thought, well, how can I do this again? How can I do some more research? And the only way I thought I could do some more research was to do a PhD. So I decided I'd do a PhD. And for that, I looked at, again, in a care home environment, I looked at how music might affect pain, depression, and anxiety. So that took a while. It took just over 4 years. And I've really just gone on doing all these different projects since. At the moment, because of lockdown, we've had to sort of bring to a halt the actual sort of live research. So I've been with a colleague, we've been developing a set of resources that people in care homes can use, caregivers can use really, that requires no musical expertise, but gives ideas for how people can use music and situations and conditions that people have in care homes where music can make a difference, like anxiety, depression, which I talked about before, pain, stress, agitation, helps with sleep. All those different kinds of things, and really to try and help people see that actually, yeah, they can use music in these ways, very simple ways, but they really can make a difference in people's lives. So does that give you a bit of a...
It's amazing, Fee. It's so incredible. It's such an amazing journey, and I think hugely inspiring. And I'm just wondering, this journey is a long journey, and it took you to where you are now, and it's really something where you have to make these tools even more widely available. What are your motivations going forward?
Well, it's so simple, really. I think right from the moment I started in this whole thing, I suppose I've just wanted to make a little bit of a difference to the lives of older people, and whether that means ones that I actually see, if I play in a concert or something like that, and I can see the difference that music is making to their lives. I mean, it's interesting that when I did my PhD and I looked at the scores, I had these scores of how to measure anxiety and depression over a 3-week period. And each week, the scores of anxiety and depression would go down. It wasn't just a one-off listening. It was a sort of gradual building up of daily listening, which really had an effect. I mean, it sounds it's incredibly simple, but it is a profound difference. And seeing that, I just find it just moves me really. And I suppose also as I go on, I feel really strongly about our society and how we treat older people. And I would love to do more to raise awareness of that. At the moment, one of my lockdown projects has been to do a survey. I'm just really aware how people, as I said, rather sideline older people. We do tend to ignore them. We don't give them a voice. And I think it's partly because we fear old age ourselves. We don't look forward to it, which isn't surprising. I'm not suggesting we've all got to look forward to it, but we do fear it. Many of us, we're terrified of getting older or getting old. So I suppose the survey, it's a survey on our attitudes to old people and our attitudes to our own aging processes. And so I'm just in the middle of doing it at the moment. I'm going to send it out in a couple of weeks. And when I've analysed the findings, I want to use that as a basis for a book on old age and how we view old age and why we fear old age. So I suppose that those are my motivations to try, it's a drop in the ocean, but but out of an ocean is made of many drops. So I'm trying to do my tiny little bit.
Fiona, you're doing so much, and it's such a big vision you hold. And I love that, because I always feel that as women, we often don't dare having big visions, and you have a big vision and you've executed it later in life. And I think the thing we always forget is, when we were younger, we thought, oh my God, anything from 50 and older, gosh, that's so old. Well, that's a long time. Potentially we are still alive if we're lucky enough. And so you have an enormous period of old age. And so I think what you do is especially important, given that we are getting older and older, and we're older longer. So I think there's a lot of things we need to change in societal ways to accommodate that, which we haven't so far. Fiona, what lessons or top tips would you have for other women?
Don't do what I did. I think obviously if I'd had my time again, I wouldn't have, I don't regret being at home with my children 1 second, but I did, I just sort of left my whole old life behind, and all my sort of musical contacts and everything. And I think if I did it again, I would have done it differently. And I know that, when I had my children, almost all my friends actually did the same as me. It wasn't unusual. Whereas if someone does that now, it is unusual. So there's been a huge shift in how people negotiate motherhood. So I suppose I would have not necessarily had a different attitude to the work. I don't know. It's too difficult to say. But I think I would have kept my sort of other life, as it were, as I saw it at the time, sort of ticking over. And I think I would have helped. I mean, I really did have a crisis when over quite a few number of years, as I tried to work out what I wanted to do. I always wanted to do something, and I just couldn't. I really I just was so lacking in confidence, I think. In the end, actually, I went and saw an executive coach who it was life-changing. I spent 6 sessions over 6 weeks, and he really challenged me. He stopped me sort of dithering and thinking I couldn't do it. And he analyzed what my strengths were and the situations where I would flourish. So I would definitely, that is one of my top tips. So if I think sometimes, you get to a stage you want to go in a new direction, whatever it is, I think for me anyway, that was hugely helpful. He gave me the confidence to say, come on, you can do it. These are the things that you're good at. These are the situations where you enjoy, you feel it, you flourish. These are the things that, you should get out there and do it. He'd give me projects each week. He'd make me go and meet people, and he'd give me homework. And this was a bit of an ordeal. He got me to write things, and I hadn't written anything since school. So, he really challenged me and made me think, oh, well, perhaps there is something that I can do. So I think that's my best top tip, and really just to, just really try and find the one thing and do it. I've been really lucky in that my husband sort of has been very patient with me over the years and allowed me to make a few false starts along the way.
Aww. Bea, I think you've done an incredible job, and just as a closing question, what would your dreams be for the future?
Well, I suppose, obviously I'm 65. I'm sort of, I suppose I'm officially retirement age if one uses that word now. Increasingly people don't retire at 65. My husband's older, he's now 71, and he's definitely not retired. So I want to, my dream is to go on doing research as long as possible. There's always something to go on doing. And I suppose, as this is my world, I would like to be a model of aging well. And by that, I don't mean, none of us know how we're going to age. None of us know what our health is going to be like as we age. But I hope that my attitude to aging and old age would be one that inspires other people. That would be my dream, I think. I think that's it.
Thank you, Fee, for telling us your story, and we are really excited for your book to come out in the next year.
Thank you very much. I've really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you, Fee.